What up, guys? So I got a lot of comments coming in on this video I posted called Staying Consistent, and a lot of good feedback. And I want to go ahead and respond to a lot of the comments coming in. And the video is basically about how to stay consistent, focusing on one of the training principles that I've discovered over the past few years, which is actually pushing myself to only about 70%. Instead of this mentality of 100%. And this 70% max effort has changed the way that I approach training. And I've been sharing it with as many people as possible because I find that when we are wanting to go and be consistent with our training, there is so much resistance around it. There's so much pressure, unnecessary pressure around the idea of just go get it done. This unnecessary pressure is I have to be on the top of my game. I have to feel so motivated. So this way I can push this weight or I can do those extra reps. Because if I don't do it, then I'm not pushing hard enough. I'm not doing more than what I did yesterday, or I'm not going to get to this goal in a month from now or 3 months from now. I'm not going to drop that body fat. I'm not going to add that inch on my arms. I'm not going to go ahead and progress. There's so much of this pressure that it takes away from people actually, number one, enjoying the actual workout or the actual practice. It takes all the enjoyment out of it. Someone's going there with such big expectations. But in reality, I realized that, if we just went ahead and just did the best we could, we just did what we felt like doing for the day, and let that be it. Some days we're going to feel good and we're going to hit it hard. We're going to do more than what we usually do. And then some days we go in there and we're going to suck. We're barely going to do half of what we usually do, no matter if you're working out with weights or you're working out with your body weight or whatever it is that you do for your practice. You can go for a 5K run all the time and you felt like crap today, so you only did 1K run. And you said, screw it, I'm done. Who cares? You just went ahead and just did it anyways. When we have this mentality that we're always having to go and hit this expectation, what actually happens is when we don't feel up for it, when we don't feel like we're going to go ahead and actually succeed, we end up just not wanting to do it. We find reasons to go, you know what, I'm not at the top of my game today. Let me just go ahead and skip it. Let me just skip it until I feel good. I'm going to come back and I'm going to really hit it hard. I'm going to come back and hit it hard tomorrow, because if I just do it half-assed today, it's a waste of a workout. Man, I used to think about that all the time. Why am I going to go ahead and use lightweight and do this crap? There's no point. I'm just wasting my workout. That was exactly my mentality. And so, can't even blame people for thinking that way. I used to think that way all the time. I remember exactly why. Because if I'm not pushing hard enough, I'm not progressing. Right? As if if I'm usually repping, 245, and then if I'm only going to rep 185 today, I'm actually getting weaker. I'm getting my body used to a lighter weight. And if I get used to this lighter weight, I'm going to get weaker. Where the hell did I come up with that mentality? As if I only get stronger because I go heavy. So if I go 185, if I go 245 and I hit reps of 10 and I go 185 and if I do 10 reps and I rack it, I'm getting weaker. That don't make no sense. You see what I mean? That's like saying I run for 5 miles a day. So if today I didn't run and today I just skipped running, but I just walk. No, I didn't walk 5 miles. No, I'm just walking randomly. But every time that I'm walking randomly, I'm actually getting weaker because I usually run. I usually run, 7 minutes in a mile. Right? So 5 miles take me 35 minutes. But no, right now I'm just walking. And because I'm just walking, I'm slowing down my pace. I'm actually getting slower. That don't make no sense. You see, it's the same thing with weightlifting. It's the same thing with training. I started to wrap my head around it. I'm like, man, all this stuff is actually just due to keeping our egos boosted, making ourselves feel that we're progressing, making ourselves feel better. In reality, there's none of that needed. I realized in training, all we gotta do is just show up. And if we just show up consistently every single day, some days we're gonna do good and some days we won't. But once we just consistently show up, those days that we actually hit it hard is gonna progress us. Those days that we didn't hit it hard and we just half-assed it, we stuck to consistently developing a habit. And who knows, even if we didn't hit everything hard, there could be some areas that we're still improving on. And in the reality, if we didn't improve, who gives a shit? That's the thing. Look at any other part of our life. Like honestly, if we just take working out, take our physical practice, and we look at the type of goals and the type of expectation that we have on our physical practice, and let's see what would happen if we actually applied that same mentality in other parts of my life. Would it even make sense? Like, would that even make sense? Because if it didn't, why would we do it for our physical training, but we don't do it for other parts of our life? Because it doesn't make sense. Here's what I mean. If, let's say, we are supposed to go and progress every single time we do something, right? So then, every time I cook, is my food supposed to get better and better and better every time? Should I be more efficient? Should I improve my cooking skills? No. How about work? So my work be getting better and better and better. Every day my skill is getting better. Every day I come in, I have all this pressure, and if I'm not performing, if I'm not writing better copy, if I'm not creating better videos, if I'm not designing this thing, if I'm not doing this thing better, then I'm gonna beat myself up. Every day when I show up at home to my girlfriend, is my performance getting better? Is my relationship and my communication getting better? Is this relationship progressing every single day? And if it didn't, what am I doing wrong? Should I go ahead and constantly analyze? When we look at things, we don't do that for everything. But yet, when we look at working out, when we look at training, it's like this is the time that we got to prove ourselves. If we look at the real culprit, it lies in the need to compare ourselves to ourselves, or compare ourselves to other people, or to society, or to this imaginary norm. We feel the need to constantly compete, and we're constantly judging ourselves as I'm better than this person, or this person is better than me. And so therefore, there's always something going on. We can't simply just go and do a workout just because I want to stay in good shape. Done. That's why. And I know if I just keep doing it, I'm going to stay in good shape. If it becomes easier, then I put more weight on it. I do more repetition. I do more sets. I make whatever I'm doing harder. And if it doesn't become easier and it stays hard, I don't change a thing. Done. Keep it so simple. Then we don't got to go ahead and overthink and put so much pressure around it. Because what happens is we actually end up not doing it enough. We end up not doing it enough because we have so much pressure around it. And if we were going to do it, we're having to force ourselves all the time. We have to go ahead and get so jacked up on pre-workouts, get jacked up on motivations and all this stuff before we actually go and do it. Because we need to hype ourselves up. Do we hype ourselves up in everything that we do? Every day when we go to work, do we go and hype ourselves up? Oh man, whoo! I'm gonna go work today. I'm gonna get so freaking I'm gonna do it. No, we drag our asses into work. We just sit there. All right, time to go work. We don't get all hyped up and jacked up once in a while, but it's not like an everyday thing. Everything else, there's no need for it. When we can simplify and take out this unnecessary pressure and simply just look at our workout and look at our practice as this is what I do because this keeps me strong, this keeps me healthy, this helps increase my happiness, makes me feel good. So I'm going to do it. And I don't give a shit how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do the best I can, and that's it. But my best changes at every moment. Why does it change at every moment? Well, think about it, if you worked out really hard yesterday, today you're a little sore. So therefore, you can't expect to have a stronger result or a higher performance. Your performance might be a little lower in some areas. Maybe you didn't sleep as much last night than you did the other night. Maybe you just ate something and now you're doing it and now you feel a little sluggish. Or maybe you didn't eat anything and your energy feels very low. Or maybe you got a lot of shit on your mind and therefore you're not totally 100% focused. You're only 70% focused. Maybe today is hot as shit and you work out outside and you're like, damn, man, I'm burning up out here. Maybe you got a blister on your foot. There's all kinds of variables. We can sit here and just start making up variables and changes. And this ain't shit that's just like random. No, this is like real life. This is stuff that actually happens. But these are variables that people experience. And if people are experiencing these different variables all the time, at different times, how can we expect our results to constantly be better at every single day? That's just silly. Some days it's going to be good and some days it won't be good, And so even if we were to look at and take a step back and go, well, then I understand that every day we might be able to not progress, but within a week or within a month, we should be progressing. Well, let me think about this. What would happen if we didn't? Because I believe we probably would, but what would happen if we didn't? What would happen if you worked out for an hour every single day? And let's just say you did a certain amount of exercises. Here's the exercise. You did all these exercises for this amount of repetition, this amount of sets, and you didn't progress anymore. You didn't add in anything more, and you just did that every single day for a month. What would happen? You know what would happen? Whatever those results, whatever results you get from doing all of that, that's what you get. So if that keeps you strong to a certain level, gives you cardio to a certain level, burns fat to a certain level, whatever it is, that's what it is. Why do you always have to constantly be progressing more and more and more and more and more? Let's think about that one. Why? Why can't you just be feeling good, you look good, and you're like, cool, I'm good. I don't need to go ahead and constantly progress. There's other areas in our life that we can focus on. And we don't always have to constantly build more muscle, get leaner and leaner, get faster and faster and faster and faster. Depends on what your goal is, And somebody goes, I want to be the best in it. Well, cool, good. But do you know why you want to be that good? Because it's not just, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of commitment to go ahead and be the best at something, or be the best that we can be at something. And we all have the potential to be the best at something. But it's not without a price, And if we were to go ahead and put all of our effort into constantly getting the best at something, we need to know the reason why we're doing it. And if at the end, the reason why is because we just need to prove ourselves again that, hey, only because I want to be the best at this, because this is the only way I can find my self-worth and my self-value, and that if I wasn't the best at this, or if I'm not really crushing this, then I see myself as being less. I don't think I'm worthy. And so my self-validation and my approval comes from this thing. Well, then we're always going to be losing, because then we can always find somebody who's better, who's faster, who's stronger, who looks better. Whatever the goal is, there's always somebody who's better. Even if you climb all the way to the top of the mountain, you're the baddest motherfucker up there, there's always somebody coming up, There's always somebody coming up who's hungry and who wants to go and knock you off the top. That needing to validate and prove isn't the path. So when you just let that go, and when you let all that go and you just go, man, I feel good about myself and I'm just going to do what I need to do every single day to do my practice. And whatever it is. All the pressure's now gone. Now every day you just go in and you just do the best you can. You don't worry about nothing. And then you actually end up getting in really freaking good shape. You actually end up being consistent. And the best part is you actually have fun. You actually can enjoy it because you take all this unnecessary pressure off of it. And now you just kind of go with the flow. That's the thing. There's this balance that gets created. You stay in really good shape because you're consistent. You take off all this pressure, and now our mind starts to have more peace. We start to stop thinking about all of this constant judging, comparing, competing, all of that. It's mentally draining. Look at all the problems that are happening right now in the world with mental health, depression, anxiety, and stress. Like, we are supposed to be progressing as a human race with technology. Everything is progressing, but yet our health is slowly dropping down. Our mental health and mental capacity is slowly dropping down. There are so many people with PTSD and all kinds of stuff. Why is that? We need to start making some changes. And we take the thing that actually helps us, which is daily training, daily practice, something that's physically good for our body and our mind. And we need to take out that one piece that's ruining it, which is that need to go ahead and put this huge pressure and expectation. Let's rip that out and let's make it easier for people to go ahead and get it done every single day. That's going to be a huge, huge ripple effect. That is the new message. That's the message that the fitness world is going to start taking on. And it will happen. Because when people start to figure this out, they start to look at it and they go, you know what? Shit, that makes sense. I don't need to go and work out and bust my ass and do all this stuff for approval, for validation, for some love, for some acceptance. Nah. Why? I feel good as I am. I'm just going to go do the best I can. And suddenly they just stop giving a shit. And now they're doing the practice every day and they're freaking happy. Boom. Drop that on.